We love to pretend time is neat and fair, like some divine clock ticking in the sky. But that's just our obsession with order talking. In truth, there is no single now shared by everyone. The universe doesn't hand out synchronized watches. Instead, time bends, wobbles, and shifts like a drunk trying to walk in a straight line. Yet here we are, swearing by seconds as if they were carved into stone. Imagine two people, one standing on Earth, another hovering at the edge of a black hole. Both check their watches, both confident they know what a minute means. But physics laughs. To one, time trickles. To the other, it races. Each insists they're right because they are. Time has no loyalty. It stretches and shrinks depending on where you stand, like a rubber band snapping between realities. Einstein dropped the bomb. Time isn't universal, it's personal. It's stitched into space itself, warping with speed and gravity. That's why astronauts age a little slower in orbit. That's why GPS satellites need corrections, or your phone would get lost. Time isn't steady, it's slippery. The more we chase it, the more it mocks us. Our so-called universal clock is just a polite illusion, a band-aid over cosmic chaos. The brain hates this. It craves certainty, tidy narratives, start and stop, cause and effect. So we invented calendars, time zones, alarms, rituals to cage the untamable. You wake up at 7, eat lunch at 1, panic at 5. But that clock on the wall doesn't measure the universe, it measures obedience. It's not cosmic truth, it's just a collective hallucination we agreed not to question. Here's the irony: you already live in multiple times at once. The sun sets differently for you and for someone across the world. While you're going to bed, they're sipping morning coffee. Which is the real now? Both. Neither. Time zones are proof we chopped eternity into slices so humans wouldn't go insane. But beneath those slices, the universe couldn't care less. It just keeps flowing in directions we barely grasp. Even your body keeps its own clocks, and none of them bother to sync with your phone. Your heart beats on one rhythm. Your hormones rise on another. Your cells divide on their own schedule. You are less like a Swiss watch and more like a messy orchestra. Each part keeps time differently. Somehow, it adds up to a performance called you. But the conductor? Nowhere to be found. Ever noticed how a boring hour feels endless, but a joyful day slips through your fingers? That's because the clock is lying. Time isn't what the second hand says. It's what your brain feels. A moment with someone you love can collapse into a blink. Waiting in line feels like a century. If clocks were honest, they'd melt like Dali's paintings, dripping to match your heartbeat. So maybe there is no master clock. Maybe time is a local invention, different for every place, every person, every mood. And yet we cling to the fantasy of a universal schedule because chaos terrifies us. We want the illusion of fairness, that everyone is aging at the same pace, that right now means something real. But peel back the illusion and you'll see time isn't shared, only experienced. Here's the paradox. The universe doesn't run on time, but on change. What we call a second is just a tally mark for shifting states. Atoms move, stars burn, you breathe in, you breathe out. That's time, change, disguised as numbers. But because we fear the void, we insist on clocks, as if putting tick marks on infinity will make it less infinite. So next time you glance at the clock and feel its tyranny, remember it's not a god, it's a guess. The universal clock is nothing more than a story humans tell each other so they can meet for lunch. Meanwhile, the cosmos runs wild, unbothered, timeless in its own way. And you're caught in between, living by seconds while the universe whispers eternity. Einstein shattered the old idea of time as a steady tick-tock metronome. Instead, he told us it's elastic, woven into the very fabric of reality. Time stretches, warps and folds depending on speed and gravity. It is not universal, not impartial. It clings to motion and mass. Time, in his vision, is less a ruler and more a river, bending to the forces around it. Imagine two clocks, one strapped to a rocket near light speed, the other resting in your bedroom. The rocket's clock ticks slower, its seconds stretched thin, while yours marches on. The result? Two realities diverging in plain sight, both true, both valid. Time has betrayed its illusion of fairness. It whispers, your experience is not the same as theirs. You live inside your own pocket of reality. This makes time deeply personal. It is no longer something out there on the wall. It is tangled with you, with your speed, with the gravity beneath your feet. Your heartbeat and your memories aren't floating in a universal sea. They are sewn into a fabric that moves with you. You are not a passenger inside time. You are carrying your own timeline on your back like a shadow. Stand near a black hole, and time slows to a crawl. A single minute for you could mean centuries for someone far away. To them, you vanish into frozen silence. To you, everything feels normal, seconds dripping as usual. Time mocks the idea of equality. What you call a moment could be another person's eternity, or their instant extinction. Perspective is the only truth time respects. This gift from Einstein wasn't just a physics equation. It was a dismantling of our arrogance. We thought clocks were absolute rulers of existence. Instead, they are provincial, like accents of reality. Time has dialects, slang in one place, poetry in another. To grasp relativity is to accept that the universe doesn't keep a single rhythm. It improvises, it riffs, and you are just one note. The strangest part, you can already feel this in small ways. A minute at the dentist feels like a year. An hour lost in laughter dissolves like a breath. Relativity is written into the human nervous system. Physics only confirmed what the psyche always knew. Time isn't linear, it's lived. Einstein just pulled back the curtain, showing that nature itself bends reality like memory does. In this vision, time is fabric, gravity is the tailor stitching curves and folds, speed is the seamstress stretching and thinning threads. You walk across this fabric without ever noticing its warp. Yet every footstep, every breath is sliding along a surface that can ripple and twist. The stars bend it, your body bends it. Even your presence weighs the fabric down like a pebble in silk. It is humbling to know you live on a curved stage. Every orbit of Earth is just a path carved in this invisible textile. We are not floating aimlessly in space. We are circling the grooves that mass and time carve together. Reality is less a machine and more a tapestry, alive with invisible stitching. The hands of gravity pull the threads tight. Time keeps them taut. This is Einstein's real gift, a universe that isn't cold or mechanical, but alive with flexibility. Time is not a dictator. It is a collaborator with matter. It listens, it negotiates, it bows to speed and bends to gravity. It means the universe is not indifferent to motion or weight. Instead, it responds, it reacts, it flexes. The cosmos is supple, and we live wrapped in its folds. So next time you check your watch, remember, it doesn't tell you the time, it tells you your time, your speed, your position, your gravity, your world. There is no single clock ticking for all of us. Each of us carries a stitched pocket of reality, a slice of fabric only we inhabit. That is Einstein's gift. Not a theory, but a truth. Time is not one story. Stand still on Earth and you feel grounded. Your feet sink into the soil. The air brushes against your lungs. The clock ticks above your desk. It all seems stable, but stability is just an illusion we buy into. Beneath your calm surface, the Earth itself hurtles through space at unimaginable speed, dragging you along for the ride. Yet, you rarely notice. Time feels steady, because you're trapped inside its moving vessel. Now picture floating above Earth. You drift where gravity loosens its grip, where the planet becomes a glowing sphere beneath you. Up here, seconds slip differently. Atomic clocks flown into orbit run measurably faster than identical ones kept on Earth. Time itself doesn't play fair, it bends with perspective. Standing below or floating above, the difference is not philosophical, it's measurable, precise, and quietly devastating to our sense of normal. Einstein's insight comes alive in orbit. Gravity is more than a force, it's a sculptor of time itself. The closer you are to Earth's massive pull, the more your seconds stretch resisting. Higher up, farther from that grip, seconds race forward. To stand and to float is to live in two subtly different universes, one anchored, one untethered. The ground and the stars argue over your minutes, each rewriting the rhythm of your being. Imagine twins. One remains on Earth while the other hovers above, circling in silence. Days pass. When they reunite, the twin who floated has aged slightly more. Not a myth, an experiment confirmed by physics. A tiny crack opens in the illusion that time is fair. No matter how synchronized their watches, the universe refuses to agree. Their very cells, their breaths, their pulse, shifted simply by standing here or floating there. On Earth, we call it normal time. But what is normal except the perspective of the trapped? Your body ages to the beat of gravity's drum. Your memories are carved inside that rhythm. To float above it, however briefly, is to slip free of its metronome. But freedom has a price. Distance reshapes your biology. You become slightly older, slightly ahead. A strange victory, aging faster, simply by standing in thinner air. This is not philosophy. It is not imagination. It is the ticking of atomic clocks, the shift of nanoseconds turned into proof. Satellites orbiting Earth must account for this dance of seconds, or their signals would drift into nonsense. GPS, that invisible compass in your phone, is only possible because humans admitted the truth, that standing and floating rewrite time differently. Without Einstein, your maps would be blind, your world would stumble. Standing on Earth, you are held by the weight of time's anchor. Floating above, you skim closer to freedom. And yet the word freedom here is fragile, because the faster you escape gravity, the more your body surrenders to cosmic speed. Special relativity steps in, slowing your seconds again. Floating and falling, speeding and pausing, the body becomes a clock that cannot keep itself honest, caught between two masters. This duality, earth-bound slowness, orbit-bound quickness, is not poetic exaggeration but raw physics. Time refuses to be absolute. Each choice of position, each altitude, sculpts a private reality. To stand is to live inside one tempo. To float is to join another. The illusion of one universal rhythm shatters. Every second you live is location-specific, body-specific, a custom-made thread woven into Einstein's fabric. You are never aligned with the whole. So next time you watch the sky, know this. Astronauts returning from orbit carry time differently than you do. A whisper of nanoseconds altered in their flesh. A strange gift, invisible but absolute. Their very presence says, your seconds are not mine. Their lives echo with a subtle separation, an invisible fracture between those who stood and those who floated. Both lived in time, but not in the same one. Earth itself is proof of this paradox. At sea level, your time is slower. In the mountains, it ticks faster. Clocks don't lie, but they do disagree. Standing or floating, grounded or soaring, you are never fully synchronized. The illusion of sameness dissolves, and with it comes the deeper truth. You do not share one time with the world. You only share overlapping shadows of time, stitched by where you stand. At the edge of space, time bends in ways our bodies can't feel, but our clocks can measure. Gravity thins, pressure dissolves, and suddenly, seconds stop marching in lockstep with Earth's rhythm. It's not another planet, it's the same world, just higher, freer, less tethered. A new tempo begins, faint but precise, whispering. Time does not flow equally everywhere. Up there, a second is not your second. It stretches, loosens, becomes something lighter. Astronauts orbit Earth while their watches tick faster than those on the ground. Imagine floating just a little higher and already leaving your old tempo behind. The universe isn't broken, it's simply playing multiple songs at once, and altitude chooses the track you hear. From Earth, time feels like a single ocean, endless waves, steady tides. But step toward the sky, and you find different layers, shifting currents, invisible rifts. Your heart still beats at its same rhythm, yet the fabric beneath your body is moving at a different pace. To climb into space is to feel the ground you trusted dissolve into multiple clocks. Satellites remind us of this every day. GPS would fail without corrections for the way their time flows faster than ours. Technology betrays the illusion of sameness, forcing us to accept the truth. The higher you go, the lighter time becomes. The simple act of altitude cracks the myth of one universal rhythm, unveiling hidden fractures in reality's pulse. It's as if Earth holds us with invisible hands, slowing our seconds, pressing weight onto our clocks. Step away from its grasp and the seconds slip, freeing themselves from heaviness. Astronauts live in days that run quicker, yet they return to a planet where time is heavier again. The edge of space is not just distance, it's tempo. Stand on a mountain peak, and your seconds drift slightly freer than those in the valley. No human sense perceives it, yet the math is undeniable. Even here on Earth, altitude carves subtle differences into the way we age. Time is not loyal to equality. It has preferences, biases, and gradients, stitched invisibly into the air we breathe. The edge of space is not silence, it's a revelation. It tells us that reality has cracks, not flaws, but openings where illusion shatters. The clock you wear does not belong fully to you. It belongs to your position in the universe. Shift your place and its loyalty changes. You're not just moving through space, you're moving through pace. In orbit, astronauts watch the Earth spin beneath them, but their own tempo floats slightly apart. A body in space is not only weightless, it is time-shifted, living at an angle to the world below. Their days are fractions different, their years subtly stretched. The body stays human, but the math whispers. You no longer belong to Earth's seconds. What we call now is fragile. It is not fixed, it is bent by the ground beneath us and the sky above. At the edge of space, a simple second is no longer trustworthy. It slips away, loyal to altitude, not identity. To rise higher is to admit there is no single present, no one rhythm binding every living thing together. So when you stare at the sky, remember, it isn't just distance that separates you from the stars. It's tempo too. The air thins, the seconds ease, the illusion crumbles. What feels like the same moment is not. On Earth we believe in shared time, but at the edge of space, a secret truth waits. Not all seconds are equal. Gravity isn't just an invisible pull keeping your feet glued to the ground. It bends space itself, reshaping the arena where time flows. Einstein revealed that the closer you are to something massive, the more space-time curves and the slower clocks tick. Gravity doesn't just hold you down, it holds your seconds, stretching them into something longer, thicker, heavier. Time itself is weighted, burdened by mass. Imagine a mountain, colossal and immovable. At its base, time trickles sluggishly, as if burdened by invisible chains. Climb to its peak, far from the heavy pull, and your clock will run slightly faster. You won't feel it, but it's there. This is gravitational time dilation, the truth that time depends on where you stand in the cosmic hierarchy of weight. Altitude doesn't just change views, it changes the pace of existence. A clock at sea level, nestled closer to Earth's mass, ticks imperceptibly slower than one perched on a tall tower. To us, it feels identical, but physics whispers otherwise. Scientists measured this with atomic clocks, some resting on the ground, others raised a mere few feet higher. Even that tiny shift in altitude altered time's rhythm. Each step upward is not just physical distance, it's climbing into quicker seconds. Think of time as a river. Near gravity's depths, the river thickens, flows slower, almost reluctant. Pull away into thinner air and the current quickens, eager and free. Earth warps this current subtly, but black holes twist it savagely. The more massive an object, the stronger its grip on time's flow. Standing on Earth gives us just a taste, a soft bending of seconds. Near a collapsed star, minutes could stretch into centuries. The beauty of dilation is its duality. From below, you look upward and imagine their clocks racing. From above, you look down and swear the lower ones are crawling. Both are right. Time doesn't have a single tempo, it plays multiple songs at once. Each perspective is valid, each relative, each bound by gravity's pull. What seems steady to us is already fractured, like two instruments out of tune, yet belonging to the same symphony. Airplanes don't just transport bodies, they transport clocks into quicker time. Astronauts don't just escape Earth, they leap into a different tempo entirely. Their days are microscopically longer than ours below. The difference is tiny, yet undeniable. Our seconds are not shared equally. A traveler carries a different chronology back home, proof that time dilation isn't metaphor, it's measurement, etched into the universe's fabric with exact precision. Gravitational time dilation explains why GPS satellites cannot simply run on Earth's clock. They orbit higher, where Earth's gravity is weaker, so their time flows faster. If engineers ignored this effect, your navigation would fail within minutes. Einstein's equations keep your phone from sending you into oceans or walls. The cosmos isn't theory here, it is function, shaping your daily life each time you ask, "Where am I?" This warping means there is no single now. What you call the present is already bending under your weight, your location, your altitude. The present up here isn't the present down there. Relativity dissolves the illusion of one universal moment. Every clock lives in its own frame, flowing at its own rate. When you look at someone, you are literally looking into a different slice of existence than your own. Gravitational time dilation teaches us that time isn't rigid, it's alive, bending and reshaping itself with mass. You are not only a creature moving through time, you are sculpting it by simply existing on Earth's surface. The ground beneath you slows your seconds, the sky above tempts them to run ahead. Every heartbeat is an agreement with gravity, every moment a small surrender to the pull of mass. There's a speed woven into the universe, a boundary written into the fabric of reality. Light. Not just brightness, not just photons, but the ultimate stopwatch of existence. No object with mass can outrun it, no signal can whisper faster. Light is the ruler against which all time is bent and measured, the hidden heartbeat of space-time. When Einstein uncovered this truth, he shattered intuition. We imagine time as steady, a drumbeat you could march to, but move fast, really fast, and that drum slows down. To the traveler, nothing feels odd, but to the one watching, the moving clock ticks painfully slow. It is not illusion. Time itself bends, stretching and twisting under the weight of speed. The closer you chase light, the stranger your hours become. Seconds to you remain loyal, unchanged. You blink, you breathe, you think. It all feels normal. But outside observers see your moments dragged, stretched thin, like cosmic taffy. A journey lasting mere years for you might unfold as centuries to those you left behind. Motion itself rewrites time's script. This is time dilation by velocity, one of Einstein's greatest revelations. A moving clock, no matter how precise, cannot keep pace with one at rest. Even perfect twins will disagree about birthdays if one rockets through the stars. One will carry the weight of long decades, while the other, traveling fast, will remain strangely young, untouched by the same years. It isn't just science fiction, we've measured it. Astronauts orbiting Earth, speeding at thousands of miles per hour, live this truth. Their clocks tick just a fraction slower than ours. Satellites guiding GPS must account for this difference, or the entire system collapses. Time dilation is not a story, it's a daily correction, hidden in the sky above. And yet, the poetry of it is undeniable. Speed is not merely distance divided by time, it is a sculptor of reality. When you move through space, you trade away your motion through time. The faster you journey outward, the less you move forward in your own clock. You're always spending from one account, space or time, never both equally. Imagine a spacecraft sailing near the speed of light. Inside, laughter, conversations, songs, they ripple as if nothing were unusual. But to Earth, those same ripples crawl, slowed into long echoes. Two realities coexist, neither is wrong. Each is true within its frame. Time does not collapse into one perspective, it blooms into many, stitched by speed itself. Here, the universe whispers something humbling. Time is not yours alone, it is shared, relative and contingent. Your heartbeat, your minutes, your decades, all can be stretched or shrunk by the velocity of your path. We are not separate from the cosmos, but bound in a rhythm that changes with how fast we dare to move within it. This is why no journey to the stars can be imagined without time's distortions. To travel far, you must surrender your claim to Earth's clock. You return younger than those who waited, carrying the paradox of distance and age in your very cells. Every astronaut, every probe, every dream of interstellar travel is chained to this truth. The speed of light is not just a barrier, it is a covenant. It tells us the faster we move, the slower we live. It binds together motion and existence as if saying, to rush through space is to sip time sparingly, carefully, drop by drop. In chasing light, we don't just move, we rewrite the very tempo of our lives. Black holes are not just objects of mystery, they are time machines of distortion. Their gravity is so intense that space itself bends toward them like fabric pulled into a funnel. If you approach one, time begins to lose its steady rhythm. Seconds stretch, hours dissolve. To an outside observer, you appear frozen at the edge, unable to cross, while inside, time collapses toward silence. Imagine falling toward the event horizon, the boundary where no light escapes. From your perspective, you might still move forward, crossing the invisible threshold, yet anyone watching from afar would never see you arrive. Instead, they'd see you slow down infinitely, fading into a strange stasis, a ghost at the edge of eternity. This paradox makes black holes the ultimate theater of time's betrayal. The event horizon is like a one-way mirror. To you, the fall continues. To others, it stops. Time splits into two contradictory truths. This duality is not a trick of perception, it is physics. Gravity doesn't simply bend paths of planets or light, it stretches the very tempo of existence. Near black holes, clocks lose their meaning and rhythm fractures into paradox. If you could survive the fall, and that's a big if, you'd discover a reality where time accelerates outside you. The universe races forward, galaxies shift, stars die. In your descent, what feels like minutes could mean millennia beyond. You'd watch the cosmos evolve as though fast-forwarded, compressed into your final moments. Black holes, then, are not death traps alone. They're accelerators of cosmic history. But physics grows uncertain at the core. Beyond the event horizon, equations break. Time, space, and matter are forced into a singularity, an infinitely dense point where our laws collapse. Here, science hesitates. The fabric of time doesn't just stretch, it shatters. Our most trusted theories, relativity and quantum mechanics, fail to reconcile, leaving only silence where answers should be. Einstein's equations suggest the singularity is unavoidable, yet quantum theory whispers resistance. Some believe information cannot truly vanish, even swallowed by a black hole. But if time ends at the singularity, where does that information go? The paradox deepens. Black holes become arenas not just for gravity but for truth itself, questioning whether time is eternal or can simply be erased. From far away, black holes appear like dark scars in the sky, perfect voids surrounded by halos of light. But look closer, and they become clocks of a different order. The matter spiraling into them heats and glows, bending light into strange arcs. To us, that glowing ring is a warning. Here lies the edge where time falters. To approach is to gamble with eternity. The paradox of black holes is simple but devastating. The closer you move, the slower your time runs compared to the outside world. Yet from inside, everything feels normal until the horizon is crossed. To live in both truths is impossible, and yet nature insists they coexist. Time itself cannot be trusted here. It fractures into perspectives, each valid, none complete. Physicists dream that answers lie in uniting quantum mechanics with relativity. Perhaps black holes are not prisons, but bridges, gateways to new physics, maybe even new universes. If so, the death of time within could be a rebirth elsewhere. The singularity, then, would not be an end, but a threshold we cannot yet understand, a place where our language of hours and seconds fails. Black holes remind us that time is fragile. It bends, halts, or dissolves under pressure. To approach one is to confront the fact that time is not absolute. It is conditional, relational, breakable. Where gravity grows infinite, so does mystery. In the heart of the cosmos's darkest furnaces, time does not merely tick, it fractures, reminding us that even eternity can be undone.